I'm Carl Dean, the mayor of Nashville, Tennessee. The process in which I became mayor, I moved to Nashville in 1978 to go to law school at Vanderbilt. I grew up in the Northeast. And when I started working here permanently, I worked at the Public Defender's Office as an assistant public defender, and I did that up until 1990 when I ran for public defender and was elected, and then was reelected in 94 and 98. In 99, I left being public defender to become the city's law director for Mayor Purcell. And I served in that role until January of '07, and I had resigned because I was running for mayor. And basically, I ran for mayor because I love the city, and I felt that I had some ideas that I thought would help keep the city moving forward. And I felt at that point in my life, if I was ever going to do it, this was the year for me to do it. And so I resigned and campaigned full-time, and then was elected mayor in September of '07. Well, the priorities that I've had since I ran for mayor and then after I was elected was really to focus on three things, which are public education, public safety, and economic development. We've also had a strong interest in quality of life issues in making Nashville a healthier city. So we have invested a lot in parks and open space, greenways, bikeways, making the city more pedestrian friendly. I've had a strong interest in the health of our citizens. That comes from sort of a realization that Nashville as a city ranks high in a lot of different areas, and I talk about that a lot. But there's an area that we don't rank high in, and we don't rank high as a state or as a city, and that's the health of our citizens. About 35 to 38% of our kids in Davidson County are obese. And when you realize that obesity is directly tied to heart disease, it's directly tied to diabetes, and it's tied to cancer, that we have an obligation to improve. We have to dramatically improve. And so that has been a major interest of mine for the past few years and will remain a high interest to me during the next couple of years. One of our goals for the city is to have Nashville be a more environmentally friendly city, and there's a lot of factors that go into improving our environment. There are things such as emphasizing recycling programs. There are things such as just encouraging people to be more environmentally conscious in terms of not leaving their car running, of turning off the lights, using more energy efficient methods of operating buildings. There's also building, which is important. When we build a building for the city, a city building, those buildings are built to LEED standards. And when I became mayor, there were buildings that were already under construction, and particularly the Howard School campus is a good example, the Fulton campus up there. We went back and re-engineered those so those would be LEED certified. You see that in the new convention center in particular. The new convention center is applying for, and I think will receive, LEED Silver certification. And we have features in that such as energy efficiency. We have solar panels in the top of the building, the whole field of solar panels. We have 4 acres of a green roof. The building, because of the green acres up there, does not have as much water runoff. The water that does run off the building, we save and preserve, and we recycle it to flush the toilets, to be used for irrigation around the building. So that is one of the most environmentally conscious buildings built in the city. And that's all part of it. Now, part of what we're trying to do in terms of preserving open space and parkland is I think it's real important to encourage people to live healthier and to be active, but you've got to give them the places where they can get the exercise. You got to give them the opportunity to be outside and to be active. And so the Greenway program, which was really started under Mayor Bredesen, and each mayor has supported it, and our greenways have expanded, is a great place for people to get out and be active, walk, bike, run. Our parks, we have invested a lot in parks in order to create spaces where people can play games and again be active. And then we've been very conscious about creating open space. For instance, we just bought a bend in the river in the Donaldson area. That's, my position is we're not going to make any more bends in the river, and the ones that we can preserve as open space and natural space, we ought to preserve them that way, because it's good for the city's environment, but it's also good for future generations to have access to places that are not built up already. I don't think that an office holder gets to determine what their legacy is going to be. People will decide that on their own. But the areas that I've tried to work in have been in education, and we've worked hard to bring programs like Teach for America, the New Teachers Project. We created a charter incubator. We have funded schools at high levels, given the fact that we've been through a great recession during the time that I've been mayor. We have encouraged reform. I think that is vitally important. I'm particularly proud of our Limitless Library program that makes our public library books available to our kids in schools. That is probably the most important thing to me. I think that is the single most important issue facing the city of Nashville is public education. I'm very proud of the work we've done with public safety. We have invested a lot in our police department since I've been mayor. We've increased the size of it to where it's now the largest department we've ever had. We're getting good results from our police department. It's very well managed by Steve Anderson, the chief. I think that the leadership in the department is incredibly strong. I'm excited about the DNA crime lab that'll come online in the upcoming months, which will allow us to be even more effective, I think, in fighting crime. In economic development, I've always believed, even before the recession, that it's real important for cities to be places of opportunities where people can stay in the city and have jobs there and have opportunities for folks to get ahead. Nashville attracts a lot of people to Nashville, and they come here because they want opportunities, they want to succeed in life, they want to live the American dream. And so we've been very aggressive in terms of recruiting companies, but we have also tried to set up a climate which is pro-business. We've worked to make our codes department and other government departments more friendly to people who are trying to start up a business. We've made a major investment in ourselves in terms of this Music City Center, which is an enormous project that recently opened up. But that, you think about it this way, is that the hospitality industry and entertainment industry is the #2 private sector employer in the city, about over 50,000 people. And we were not living up to our potential in that area, and the convention center was certainly needed. Nashville is a city that has been doing incredibly well in terms of attracting visitors, attracting conventions, and we needed to take advantage of that. And so those are the things that we've worked on. I think the type of things that last the longest, I would think, would be preserving a huge piece of open space. I mean, it'll be there forever, hopefully, and that is something that is passed on to generation after generation. I'm Carl Dean, the mayor of Nashville, Tennessee.